So
that's a B-side.
Travis Kelce's dating Taylor Swift.
I love that that's where we're starting for Indigenous Peoples Day. They are both Indigenous people. They both live here in the United States of America, and thankfully they are they're together. I guess.
You know they're doing it's B-side, which means beer side. We're doing a Rhinegeist Franz. Oktoberfest Bier. Oktoberfest Bier.
I have this German woman that lives in my neighborhood that the other day I was sitting in my home office and it was like a sunny day and she was just riding her bicycle down the middle of the street and looked like the happiest human on the planet. And in my head I was just like, she'll have a Festbier later. Schadenfreude. Wait, that's something.
Do you know her?
I do. Yeah.
Oh,
I know. Yeah.
Okay. What's her
We
name?
know one another. Her name's Sabina.
Sabina.
Yep.
It's a nice name.
I also have another elderly German woman who lives in my neighborhood.
What's her name?
Her name's Sigrid.
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 There you go. So yes, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are dating. Let's get into the gossip.
Go.
Will this affect his game?
Only for the better.
Okay. Does he really like her music or not?
At least to a degree. I mean, there's some. I thought I liked Taylor Swift, and then I listened to her, and I don't like.
How many Taylor Swift songs can you name?
Shake It Off.
No. Just like number. You don't have to name them.
No, I know.
Oh, you're naming them.
That's it.
Okay.
Ta-da!
You did it!
She had an album called 1989.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Kanye West said mean things.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Who
When she
did
was
he want to
young.
win instead?
Beyonce.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, hey, welcome.
How many songs do you know?
0.
Okay.
That's
what I would have guessed.
If I walked into Walgreens and Taylor Swift was playing, I couldn't tell you it was Taylor Swift. I could tell you if it was annoying me or not, but I couldn't tell you if it
But
was
I couldn't tell you if most artists are singing anything, so I'd be like,
I was at the store this morning, and the demographic for the store I go to is mostly African American people. So I was a little surprised that at 8:15 or 8:30 in the morning they were playing Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, yeah.
You know, maybe it's that audience just kind of enjoys that.
I hope they do. I don't particularly, but
Under the Bridge,
yeah,
Californication.
Yeah, it's okay. Here's the thing that really gets me, and this won't surprise any of our devoted listeners. Thank you for coming back.
All three of them.
I've been well documented on this show of saying that I find zero value in children. And so their song Airplane, when they have like just a choir of kids in the end, I'm like, why? This is dumb. This ruined the song. It's a ton of tiny voices singing along with you, Anthony. Come on, Ketis.
Rude.
Be better.
Rude.
Be better, Ketis.
Get a choir of old people. That'd be way better.
Happy
like old people
used
better?
to be called Columbus Day.
Boo!
Is now called Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yay!
And a day that I really just say, I get off work and get to watch playoff baseball.
Winner! I watched Pioneer Woman? Pioneer? I don't know what the show was. It was a series on Amazon with
Dr.
Emily.
Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Oh, that's it. Yep,
Nailed
that was it.
Nailed it.
It was with Emily Blunt.
Okay.
I think she wrote it, maybe? English Woman. English Woman is what it is.
English women.
English Woman.
English woman.
Single.
Okay.
Singular.
Just the one woman, not multiples.
Just one. In fact, it's the only woman, I think, in the entire show.
Oh, so a one-woman show? It's like
It's her against the men of the world. It's very much like today.
I feel like that might have been Ayn Rand.
It was the precursor to that. It's the story of a woman who moves...
The successor. Ayn Rand's been dead for a long time.
Well, I know, but the story's set in the... So no.
I should have
precursor.
Listened.
Yeah.
I should have let you talk.
Jerk face.
Yeah.
No, it's an interesting story. It's this English woman who's coming to find her lover husband who's moved to the U.S. to gain some property out in the West, Wyoming area.
Yeah.
And she's coming out to meet him. And in there, she meets the Wild West.
Ooh.
And
that actually sounds really good.
It's not bad. She teams up with a indigenous person.
A native person?
Yeah, native.
Yeah. First Nations person.
First Nations. It's nice. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice little. I like westerns. But honest westerns.
Yeah, you know who loves westerns? You.
Boomers?
You.
Oh, me. Me. I do.
Yeah, you do.
My grandfather, Ralph.
And my wife. Shocked me.
Yeah, we watch them and then we break them down on our podcast.
I love it.
Take that.
I hope you do. I hope you do. She needs a friend, and I'm glad that you can be that friend. Yeah, no, when she told me that, she was like, oh, that looks real good. And I'm like, who are you?
You don't like westerns?
Oh, I love them.
Oh.
I was just shocked. Like, this is a
woman. You were surprised she does.
Yes, she's like...
Fair enough.
She's highly into fashion.
Okay.
She loves, like...
She is?
Yes.
Huh.
You know this.
Yeah. Yes.
She's
so
fashionable
when I see her.
Cozies. Every time you come over and she's in workout gear or sweats.
Yes, it's very fashionable.
You should see. Actually,
I don't know. I would not know fashion if it hit me in the face.
So I only know fashion because my wife wears things that I would never in a million years think that could make up an outfit. But like the other day, she came home from the office, and I was sitting out back, and I was like, "Wow, you look good." I was like, "Holy cow, what is?"
Did you go? Did you howl? Did you go? Yeah. Did you do that?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
My wife.
In that order.
I had a meeting the other day, and I threw on a blazer to go, and she's like, "Oh, you look good."
What is that?
And then she continued to hit my butt routinely and she's like, "Ooh, everybody's gonna think you look so yummy today, or so good, or whatever." And I was like, "I'm like, well, they're just gonna do what you're doing all day."
It's gonna be a whole big round of grab ass today.
She texted me at some point, and she's like, "Well, how's your butt?" I'm like, "It's so sore.
It's raw.
It's
raw.
I can't even.
It's uncooked hamburger.
Yeah, it's unbelievable."
That same thing happens where like I'll have meetings or something, and so I'll like have a jacket on when I come home, and this sounds worse than it really is. She just doesn't look at me a lot because she's doing other things, so like we're interacting, but like
I got time to look at you.
But as soon as like she distracts herself from whatever she's distracted by, she kind of looks at me and she's like, oh, hey,
licks her lips,
and it gives you a bite. It's a lot of butt. It's a lot of butt touching. It's a lot of slaps.
It's tasty there, Tiger.
Yeah. So First Nations people, you're welcome for this podcast. Today's your day.
Hey, just like
and it's all about our butts.
With Europeans, we've made this about us.
It's all about our butts.
I recently sat in a meeting over at Connor Prairie, which is the living museum near us, and they are doing some radical. I wouldn't say radical.
You did though.
I did. I would take that back. I would say they are doing some honest work in retelling the history of.
Oh wow!
The work that we've done as work and trauma that we've done in the history of this area.
Yeah.
And it is going to piss a lot of fragile white people off.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I told him, I have a friend who's the vice president over there, and he's a great guy. And I said, let me know when they planned on opening it this summer. They pushed it back because they're like, we need to do more work. We need to be ready for this. Like, there's going to be a lot of racist comments that is going to come out of this because we've already felt that as we've experimented with it. And I said, well, when you guys are ready to launch, can you let me know? Because I will be starting a white fragility festival where I just have lots of white tissues and people on hand to be like, I'm so sorry.
Here's your snow cone.
I know it's so, they're being so mean to you. I know. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like digging a little bit into that, like especially the county.
Oh, it's just not good.
Conner Prairie is a good institution.
Yes, absolutely.
And like well rooted in Hamilton County.
Yes.
But Hamilton County is by and large a very white, wealthy, like
with a strong
county.
History of racism in its past
absolutely.
that we need to reconcile.
Yes. And so yes, there will be an enormous amount of pushback because people will not want to get out of their comfort zone to be told you were white and you were wrong.
Yeah, right. Yes. Yeah, William Conner was not the saint that we portrayed him to be.
Mm-hmm.
He was an opportunist that took advantage of.
Yeah,
which
this land is mine.
And I don't understand why we take like we're. I don't understand why people are so offended by that. Of like, don't say that. I'm like, no.
Say it.
I'm gonna say it. Like,
we live in a culture where
have stolen the land.
Everything's on the table.
We have stolen everything. We did not make this country because of us.
We gave you measles inside our blankets. This land is mine because I'm white.
We raped your children, your women. Yes. Yeah, we're great. Solid.
Well, and then we thought that as a welcome to the political issue gang. We were like,
glad you took the day off for this.
Hey,
you didn't take it off. You were given it.
Let's give them a little bit of land.
Oh,
right. And now you can.
Then
live
we took
on
that too.
Land. Yeah. Have you ever read or heard the story of it? This is actually in Canada, but it was the Moonlight Mile.
No.
It was basically in Western Canada. In Canada, they don't call them American Indians or anything. They call them First Nations people.
Yes, First Nations, yes.
And these cops were basically picking up First Nations people, and then they would drive them to what they called the Moonlight Mile, and they would leave in the middle of winter. They would drive them miles from anywhere and leave them
deserted
to see if they could get back alive.
Well, and then
and they don't. They all died.
Right.
And so there was a huge criminal investigation, which is up my alley for things, and was just like, I was very like professionally intrigued by the story, but then was just like, as a human, was like, gosh.
Well, then there's been some of the Canadian schools where they've found all these First Nation children buried.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Canada hasn't done well either, so you're not off the hook, Canada.
Well, and it was funny because, I mean, gosh, I remember my older brother in the 90s wearing a t-shirt that had, like, the Christopher Columbus, like, not photo, but, like, a drawing, but, like, not cartoon, just, like, and, like, but then it was, like, it was his political statement for, like, we have Columbus Day, but he was a rapist. He was an arsonist. He was like, and it was like the litany of charges of who Christopher Columbus really was. And it was, my brother's always been very edgy, and I love that about him.
Sure.
And he will speak up and he will push the envelope. But like, to really say like, no, Christopher Columbus was an awful human who literally came over here because Spain was bankrupt. And they were like, we kind of need you to go steal a bunch of money from the New World. Yeah. So sail that way, see what you find. Hopefully it's wonderful. Bring it back to us because we don't got no money.
Right.
And for years, I mean, we live in a culture today where eyes are wide open. Everything's critical. Mm-hmm. Like we have the ability to be able to say, you are wrong. Here's why you are wrong.
Right.
And for us to rewrite that history of, I don't know, was that 1492? Is that what it was?
Yeah, he sailed the ocean blue then.
Yeah. And so you go 1492 to 2010. Like, it took that long for a country to be like, ooh, this guy really sucked. Like, why don't we actually celebrate the people who lived off this land? And like, but then we didn't even do that. We were just like, we're trying.
Yeah, I mean, that invites the conversation of like, you're giving us a day? Like, how about give us our land back or reparations? Like, woo!
All the buffalo, please.
Well, can you imagine? I mean, the Indiana
State Seal
has a
buffalo on it.
Has a guy chopping wood and a buffalo romping through his backyard.
And I gotta tell you, I've lived in Indiana my entire life.
You've not had a buffalo romp through your backyard?
Never.
You have that nice backyard, that open green space. That'd be the perfect place for a buffalo to just kind of be like, hey!
I've seen deer. I've seen all kinds of wildlife.
Middle-aged white women.
I've seen white drunk women back there. I've seen black drunk women back there. I've seen a German black woman back there.
Whoa.
Yeah. But you're like, man.
Can you imagine seeing buffalo in the wild in
Indiana?
You'd be like, what the heck?
Dude, there was a deer in my backyard a couple of months ago, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, it's lost. Like, it's trying to eat on my bird feeder in the middle of an afternoon. But I was like, if I saw a buffalo, the first thing I would do, it would be similar to a bear, I think. Like, if I saw a black bear just, like, cruise out, I'd be like, this is pretty awesome.
What the heck?
And I'd be like, I'm going to watch this until it gets dangerous for me. And then I'm going to quietly slip inside. Not to completely redirect us, but have you thought about how weird that is that, like, Wisconsin and Michigan and Pennsylvania and Tennessee all have black bear, but somehow Indiana doesn't have, like, they just don't walk north or south or into our range. Or maybe they're just like, well, we heard about Connor Prairie.
They're black bear. If they were white bear, they'd be like, all right, I'll roll up in there.
Yeah, because Hamilton County would just run the black bear right out of here.
Cool.
Yeah.
It ain't pretty.
Yeah.
It ain't pretty. There ain't pretty things that happen in these here neck of the woods, despite what you might tell yourself.
Well, which is also kind of weird that...
There are some good things, but you got to understand, like, just because there's good things doesn't mean you get to negate the negative things. And if there's negative things present, then there's still work to be done. So, yes, celebrate the growth and the advancement that we've made, but don't diminish what's still currently present and recognize, no, there's still stuff that we have to address. Like, you can hold that intention. Like, and if you can't, then show yourself out.
But people won't show themselves out because they are the most important thing.
They will not.
I'm the star.
I got a friend who he's an amazing cook. He is self-taught chef. Amazing.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yes. And I don't know how he did it. One of these days I'll sit down and ask him. I don't know.
One day I'll talk to my friend.
Yeah. Well, he is. Yeah. He's the best. I met them. I saw them 2 weeks ago unexpectedly.
Okay.
They came down to visit. They live up in the region, so they came down to see us. And I didn't know they were coming. And it was like I caught them out of the corner of my eye, and I was like immediately filled with emotion of like, is that really them? Like, I will knock an old woman out of the way, Costanza style.
Oh heck yeah, absolutely.
But he introduced me to. He calls them Navajo tacos.
Is it like Indian bread?
Fry bread, yeah. Indian bread, yeah, fry bread.
Yeah, fry bread.
And then he makes a pork chili. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And like, I've had it like twice, and like I dream of this.
Yeah.
It is amazing. And if you head out west, it's a little more common. Like you go to Oklahoma, Kansas, certain parts of prairie Kansas. But they'll call it Indian taco or something. And I was like,
fry bread, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's kind of. I think we've talked about this before. Like when you think about like accents. Like if I do an English accent, I talk about the things of the Highlands. We'll here we'll have a spot of tea. Like nobody thinks of me. I'm like, oh, he's just doing silly. But if I do a Chinese accent, they're like, oh, you're being a little racist.
Oh, you need to stop.
Right.
You can't do that.
And I'm like, can we call these Navajo tacos, or can we just call this fry bread? And what?
Yeah.
It's like, where is this appropriation?
Yeah.
And where is this just like some of that? I'm like, I don't know. Well, in Cami and I traveled to Tulsa. This has been a while, 5, 6, maybe 10 years ago. And we're like, so are there a lot of Native Americans in the? We were in a taxi moving from the airport to the hotel, and the guy's like, well, I'm Indian. I'm 75% Indian. Like. Not Native American, like Indian.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, so he's just going to refer to himself as an Indian.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, he's okay being that. So when you pay attention to regions or whatever, and then somebody just this last week was telling me about another like Indian comedian.
Okay.
And here's how they explain it. I don't know who the comedian is, but I've always heard Indian dot, not feather, or whatever.
Yeah.
And they said Indian call center, not casino.
Okay. That would pertain.
And you laugh. You can't.
Call center, not
You
casino.
can't not laugh. And I'm like, I shouldn't laugh. That's horrible.
No.
But I get it. Like, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you mean. And that's horrible and so funny.
Yeah. That's
why it's a Sinner and Saint podcast. We hold both of those things in contention.
We sure do. Wow. Yeah. That's funny.
Somebody was telling me
Call center,
that.
not
So
casino.
again, I didn't watch the comedian. Someone else was telling me that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's pretty humorous.
But also, like, good for them for, like, I mean, we are who we are, right? Like, none of us chose to be born this way. We just, like,
What?
that was our lot.
What?
So, like, yeah. Did you choose to be bald?
Yeah, actually, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yes, at 34, when the
Yeah.
island separated from the mainland, I'm like, okay, we're done.
Well, no, but your
Hair
baldness
gave up on
happened,
me,
like,
so I'm
you didn't
just gonna
choose to
show
have
it.
blue eyes. You didn't choose to be white.
That's
you didn't
true.
choose to.
That's true.
Like, and it's just, to me, it's so pedantic that we get into a conversation of, like, oh, well, they're black, so they don't belong here. Or what? And it's like, who cares? Like, they're humans. They're people. Like, just befriend people, because, like, yeah, there are different cultures, and good for Connor Prairie for, like, kind of rewriting that narrative and pushing back on that, because that will be a wildly unpopular thing in this side of town.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it's the right thing to do.
Right.
And, like, the easy choice and the right choice are seldom the same choice. So you make sure to try and always be a little bit better, right? And yeah, I don't know how the community's going to take that.
Well, I mean, part of the reason that people do that is, I mean, you have an entire religious history that's been complicit in that, and have read that into their religious text, that, you know, that Ham, Noah's son, was cursed with dark skin, right? There's people that are taught that that's how that reads, which is not how that reads, in case you were wondering.
I don't know this story. But
No, so Noah gets off the boat. You know, Noah had a boat. He floated around.
I've heard about this.
Just puts animals on
2x2.
it. Yes, right, yes.
God told Noah to build an arky. Vacation Bible School, gang.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember.
That's what'll get you.
Arts and crafts.
And then when he gets off, he gets drunk. He's like, that was BS.
His name was Ham?
And he had 3 sons. And he gets drunk and he's lying there naked. And the 2 older sons cover him up, walking backwards so as not to look upon their father's nakedness. And Ham's like, not me, I'm checking it out.
Wait, those were Ham's kids?
Noah
got drunk. Oh, okay.
And 2 of his older sons covered him up, but his third Ham was like, I'm checking out Dad being naked and drunk.
I'm curious.
And God's shame upon him, as they have been taught, is that he is marked. And then there are many people that have taught that mark was the birth of black people.
Oh.
You never heard that?
No, never.
Good. I'm glad I'm perpetuating it. Jeez Louise.
So, Ham was a perv. That's what I'm taking away from this. Like,
Ham is the rest of us. If you see somebody drunk, you're like, oh, I'm checking this
Ham's bi-curious.
show out.
Yeah.
If you see anybody drunk, you're like, oh, this is a hot mess. I'm gonna get a set of eyes on this.
Oh yeah, dinner and a show.
Yeah, so Ham is the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would watch somebody drunk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
we call that the TikTok.
Yeah, we're gonna go to lunch later, and if there's a drunk naked human there, I'm there. Like I'm there for it. I'm watching it, and yeah, that choked you up. Didn't it? Okay. You weren't ready for that.
It's gonna be me. Surprise, surprise.
Male or female.
Yeah.
I'll watch the show.
I'm looking, but then I'm also like in my best moment, I'm grabbing a blanket or something and being like, let's help you out here, buddy.
Oh, this just goes back to you're a way better person than I am.
I said at my best moment.
Okay, that's probably not today.
Not at this point.
Guys, if we see a drunk naked person at lunch, we're going to come unglued. Like, there's absolutely, we're prophets.
We are coming back to record another episode that's going to be like B-side part B.
B to B. They'll be like, you are not going to believe this.
We went to lunch. Here's what we saw. We had to tell somebody.
We'll make sure to drop it the day after, just so you are.
Have you ever seen a naked person in public?
I have.
Yeah, please.
I have. You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, that's one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please. I just want to make sure I understand. Yeah, please.
I was an invitation for you to be naked in public.
No, I don't wish to be.
No, we can't. That won't last on YouTube.
I have only so much confidence. So there was one day where, gosh, this was years ago. I was at Flatwater Grill in Broad Ripple. So for those of you who live in Japan and South Africa, there is a little area of Indianapolis called Broad Ripple that's kind of like a nightlife area with like a lot of bars and clubs and things. But if you're old like me, there's really good restaurants that you can attend during the day and like be a good patron without having to like get skeezy on you and glitter. So a friend and I had gone to Flatwater Grill, which sits on the canal. And so like their outdoor patio is right on the canal. And so it's nice because you can watch the ducks and stuff. And there was just this strung out dude across the canal, just like singing to himself and wandering around just butt naked. And we're like, well, that's pretty funny, right? Like, and like we were not. So I could make the excuse to be like, geographically, we were not in a position to help the person because there was a waterway between us. But judgingly, we were just like, well, I'm here for this, man. I'm in. Let's get here. And so we watched this guy for a while, and then like this woman stumbles out of like an upstairs apartment, also strung out and naked. And I'm like, they did drugs together. Cool. And then they started participating in coitus right there.
Really?
And we were just like, well, it's only a matter of minutes before the cops show up now. Like this is going downhill fast. And it was my very first live coitus show.
Wow.
Where there was a considerable audience, because if you think about from their point of view, it wasn't just Flatwater Grill. It was like Flatwater and several other like Basbos and even the fire station. Like the fire guys were probably just like, that's a cop duty. That's not fire duty. That's not the fire department's thing.
Can't put that fire out.
That's on the cops. That fire's burning bright. So that's one time I've seen a naked person in public.
I've seen it a few times.
Yeah.
Jamaica has certainly lended itself to a number of, and not in the certain resorts that they have down there, but just in the streets and whatever.
Sure.
But saw it in Chicago in the middle of a Saturday afternoon, walking down the streets.
Hopefully summertime.
It was the summertime. We'd gone up there just for kind of a one night getaway, and we were walking.
You got away.
Oh man. We're crossing an intersection, and it's crowded. I mean, Chicago, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
But it is crowded, and across the intersection is a woman facing away from us, bent over, picking something up, and she is a full-figured woman from behind, and she is wearing very sturdy. She is wearing some short pants, and so like her facing away from us, you're like, oh, we're seeing plenty there. And then she stands up and turns around and has no top on. And it was like, are you kidding me? And she walks past us, and then the crowd starts to thin out, and it's us and our friends and another woman who I actually didn't realize at the time
was also naked.
No, she was not, but she was keeping pace with us, just beside us.
Yeah.
And like once we're probably a block down the road, we're all like, can you believe that? Like,
yeah.
We're like, is that legal? Like, can you walk around topless as a woman in Chicago in public and like just as a thing? Like that might actually not be illegal, and she might be whatever. Like we were, and then we're like, and Cammy's like, I didn't look. We're like, what do you mean you didn't look? She's like, well, I felt bad for her, so I didn't look. I'm like, no, she wanted you to look. Like that whole thing was about you looking. An invitation. I'm like, well, don't worry, I was looking, so
I got enough for both of us. Have you ever spent much time in Vegas?
No, I've never been to Vegas.
Oh, okay.
I think I want to go.
You do.
Okay. Yeah. I've got to go once, right? To be like, all right, at least now I can...
Here's the funny thing, man. I've got a brother who we are polar opposites. And, like, he is all the way conservative and I'm all the way wild card. We both love Vegas.
Yeah.
And, like, we love Vegas for the same reasons, where it's like...
It's the best people watching around.
It's just the gaudiness. Like, it's just all the way the gaudiness. But I remember I was there on a work trip. And this guy that I used to work with, we called him the Cougar. And he was like, hey, dude, did you see those girls? Those girls didn't have any tops on. And I'm like, yeah, I saw that, Coog. He's like, no, let's go back because those girls didn't have any tops on. I'm like, we're not going back. We're not going back to ogle those women who are walking around without any tops on.
That happens in Vegas.
It's like 9:30 in the morning. Yeah, Coog. We got to go to work. Like, let's go to work. Like, oh man, I was in Vegas. Like, all right, dude, whatever.
You.
Like, yeah. If you wanna go low key perv,
go for it. Yeah.
Go dancers who are walking around topless. Cool. Have at it. But
there's a lot of families out there in Vegas anymore.
Yeah, because there are so. I guess my brother, he took his daughter out there to go see Adele. I guess Adele is doing a residency in Vegas. Right. And so he, for Christmas a year or two ago, surprised her with like, hey, we're going to go to Vegas and see Adele. And so I think a lot of people are starting, and like Vegas is starting to do that stuff where like, not only do they have the Raiders, they're getting the A's. Right. And then they're redoing the downtown configuration of the street for an F1 race. And
really?
So they're going to have an F1 race there in November.
Wow.
And it's like...
Trying to change the
cool,
image.
Man. Yeah. So my favorite thing about Vegas, though, I love Vegas. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. I love Vegas.
Casinos!
Because of
it
casinos.
All comes full circle.
Actually, it's nothing to do with casinos. It's all about... there's absolutely everything and anything to do in Las Vegas. But then if you drive like 45 minutes in any direction, it's great hiking. Yeah. Like, it's fantastic hiking. Yeah. And so... my wife and I have gone there several times because we like to plan vacations around hikes. Yeah. And so we'll be like, we can get like cheap food and good entertainment and then like just go hike for a couple days. So
one of these days we'll make the trip out there, but we've tried a couple times.
I'd go to Vegas with you.
Yeah.
We'd have a good time.
Oh yeah, we record out there.
Stay tuned for the Vegas podcast.
Oh, watch out.
I don't know where we're at on time.
We're there, so
we're there. All right.
Thanks for spending your holiday with us, and
we're sorry for all the things the white people did to you guys. It's not our fault, but like we're still sorry.
That sounded like totally like, sorry, and get over it. Rub some dirt on it.
Oh no, it's not that at all. It's
your generational trauma and pain and suffering.
No, what it really is like I don't have the math inside my brain to know how to fix things like that. And
I don't either. I mean,
and I want it to be better, and like I'm sure that comes off as white privilege, where it's just like, oh yeah, say you're sorry, cool, and then they can live in their pain, and you're just like you feel better because you're absolved, and it's not that. It's just like I wish I had that mechanic in me to like know how to. I mean, all I can do is participate and advocate. Yeah. Because like I don't know that math.
Yeah. So, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for tuning in on the B-side. We'll see you in a few days on the regular scheduled Sunday episode.
You got hiccups?
I got a tickle in my throat.